I hope all of you physically healthy and mentally happy. It's been so long not to have a class for almost 2 months. So since I arrived to Dharamshala at the Gyuto Monastery, I've been so busy. In between, I got COVID positive. I'm fully recovered. I'm doing well. So last time we had to cancel the Sunday class because I was actually COVID positive. So anyway, so since today, so we will have a class on Sunday, 2 classes, one for the intermediate student, the second is the advanced student for entering middle way. So we try to have a class Sunday as much as I can, we can. But sometimes we have to cancel the Sunday class because I have a lot of schedule here. So anyway, I'm very happy to see all of you. At the beginning, so we really need to set up the proper motivation. If we have a good motivation, the motivation can bring the good action. If we have a good action, the good action can bring the good and positive result. Therefore, in Buddha teaching, they always talk about the basis, path, and result. The motivation is look like a basis, like a foundation. Then the action act based on the good motivation look like path. Then depends on the good action, the result can be positive, the result can be negative. Therefore, at the beginning, we need to set up the proper motivation. There can be different kinds of motivation we can have. As a Buddhist, we must think. So today, I'm going to study Dharma, free me from suffering. Then as a Mahayana practitioner, we must think, so this morning, so we're going to study, I am going to study the precious Garland for free all sentient beings from suffering. Particularly, we need to generate the special bodhicitta, which is, I want to be Buddha, I want to achieve Buddhahood very swift and very quick way. So before we start actual class, I thought, we should discuss a little bit about our daily practice. Many of you have been studying Dharma with me more than 2 years as a beginner. At the beginning, we started our class, the Four Noble Truths. I let you remember the Four Noble Truths. Practicing Four Noble Truths are the foundation. Whether you believe in Mahayana or Hinayana, doesn't matter. First, we must have the solid understanding about Four Noble Truths. So how we can have, the proper understanding of Four Noble Truths? Very simple way, simply we can reflect on the external phenomena. Growing, good fruits. The good fruits must come from the good causes and condition. Then the bad fruits arise through the bad causes and condition. We understand these two, condition, positive and negative condition, and positive and negative result. Then we're going to understand the origin of suffering, and the cessation and the path to cessation. Then second, I let you remember, I hope you have the textbook based on the 12 links interdependence. So in order to know how to practice, how to do meditation on the Four Noble Truths, we need the deeper understanding of Four Noble Truths, particularly the first two truths, suffering and the origin of suffering. Then we need to study the 12 links interdependence. Then after that we have a class for the lamb of the path to enlightenment. Then gradually we studied about the bodhicitta. Also, we have a class on the meditation on intermediate state, something, Kamala Shila. This means first we need to know the foundation of the Buddha teaching. Not only having knowledge, we need to know how to practice the Four Noble Truths. Second, we need to know how to practice the Four Noble Truths very correct way, very precisely. Therefore, we studied the 12 links interdependence. Then we need to know how to do the proper meditation without having any mistakes. Therefore, we studied the middle stage of the meditation by Kamala Shila. Then we studied about the lamb of the path to enlightenment, to know how to practice bodhicitta, how to become Buddhahood. Then we studied to have a class on the precious Garland by Nagarjuna. This teaching taught by Nagarjuna to the king who was very close friend with him. So that his friend was a king, he need to look after for the whole region. Also, Nagarjuna asked him to be the good king, to benefit yourself, to benefit for others. Likewise, most of you are lay person, living with family, living with your husband and wife and children. You're living in the society, working in the different workplaces. So we also need to know how I can do the proper daily job. Also, we need to know how I can practice Dharma. Many people think if I practice Dharma, I cannot be, I cannot do the job in the society. It is not true. The more you study Dharma, the more you can, the better work you can do for your society, in your office, for your family. So we have been studying Dharma for more than 2 years. For the 2 years, many of you have a lot of knowledge about Dharma. Then there's one problem we have. Everybody has a problem. The more you learn Dharma, the more you can see problem with others. So this is a problem. The more you learn Dharma, the more you to be a better person. You don't analyze for others. Also, we have a lot of Dharma knowledge. We know how to practice bodhicitta. We know how to do meditation. We know how to generate renunciation. When we go through our own experience, when we reflect on our own experience, we don't have any of the experience. We don't have an experience about Four Noble Truths. We don't have our own experience about bodhicitta, renunciation, because we just learn. Every day we learn, every day we read a lot of Dharma books, but every day we don't do practice. Therefore, we don't have experience of any of the Dharma. Therefore, we are very rich in knowledge, but we are very, very poor in practice. Therefore, since today, all of us, we study more. Also, we practice more. Otherwise, there's no any reason, no point to have been studying Dharma. So, when we reflect in our daily life, based on our practice, actually, at the beginning, as a foundation, we are lacking to understand the cause and effect. Cause and effect. If you really have a strong belief in cause and effect, then second, you can get strong aspiration to practice the Dharma. Mean the positive action brings positive result. The negative action brings negative result. Therefore, I don't want any negative result. I don't want any negativities. Therefore, I need to stop to engage into negative action. In order to stop negative action, so we need to stop the primary causes of the negative action, which is attachment, anger, and hatred. On the other hand, also we need to know the positive cause bring positive result. I always want positive result, positivities. Therefore, in my daily life, every day, I need to apply the positive action. I need to act only positive action, not negative action. So in order to perform the positive action, the primary cause, we need non-attachment, non-ignorance, the non-hatred, the non-anger. So when we have a strong belief, cause and effect, then we can follow the proper Dharma. So the belief, the faith in cause and effect is a very important condition to achieve the liberation, achieve the Buddhahood. For example, right now, I'm in India, most of you are in Singapore. So how you can hear my voice, how I can hear your voice, how I can see you, how you can see me, between you and me, there's a Wi-Fi connection. There's a Wi-Fi, the internet connection. The belief in Dharma, belief in cause and effect, or look like the Wi-Fi, connect you and liberation and Buddhahood. In order to connect you and me through the Wi-Fi, what we need the electricity. There's no electricity, then the Wi-Fi cannot function. If the Wi-Fi doesn't have any function, then I cannot see you, you cannot see me, we cannot, hear each other. Therefore, the electricity is look like the right understanding of cause and effect. The electricity is look like the right understanding of the Dharma. Then the Wi-Fi is like a belief in cause and effect, belief in liberation, Buddhahood, renunciation. Therefore, make sure, so at the beginning, you have the right understanding. Based on the right understanding, then we must have a strong belief. Second, so we have been talking about bodhicitta for many, many times, maybe millions of times. Also, we have been hearing, about bodhicitta. If somebody asks me, do you really, accomplish bodhicitta? My answer is very simple. I say no. Of course, you must have a bodhicitta because you know how to practice bodhicitta. Then I say, yes, I know how to practice bodhicitta, but I don't practice bodhicitta. So how come we really cannot apply bodhicitta? We cannot accomplish bodhicitta. Why? Because bodhicitta depends on great compassion. We can talk about great compassion, but we really cannot practice great compassion because we cannot control our anger, hatred. So we are very happy with very few people on the planet. Very few, not more than 10. If you have 40 people, you really, purely like each other, is very good. I don't think we have more than 40 people which we sincerely like and love. But we don't like rest of the human beings. Therefore, we cannot generate great compassion. Therefore, we haven't achieved bodhicitta because we're not able to practice great compassion every day, every time. We can practice great compassion in the morning, not afternoon. We can practice great compassion afternoon, not evening. Therefore, as a foundation for practicing bodhicitta, we seriously, sincerely need to practice great compassion. Make sure great compassion. Then how we can really generate great compassion? Then also we have been studying like two causes condition, two different means how to generate great compassion. One, based on the 7 causes condition. First, 3, recognize all sentient beings as a mother, remember their kindness, wish to repay their kindness, then loving kindness, then great compassion. So first step, if we don't have the first step, we cannot have a second. They cannot third. And then cannot have a fourth. Then no great compassion. The second method, how to generate great compassion. Remember the 7 points. Exchanging self and others. Exchanging self and other. So in order to practice the exchanging self and other, then we need to know the advantage and disadvantage of the self-centered attitudes and other-centered attitudes. So we Tibetans say wrong changing mean self-centered attitudes. Yen changing mean other-centered attitudes. We need to know the consequence of advantage and disadvantage of self-centered attitudes and other-centered attitudes. Then when we have a great compassion, it looks like very easy to achieve bodhicitta. When we have the actual bodhicitta, then we are very easy to achieve Buddhahood. So today we start our class how to achieve the Buddhahood from the chapter 3. At the beginning of the chapter 3 is mentioned, explain what are the causes conditions to achieve all the Buddha's marks. So we can start right after the explanation. I think I need a soft copy of the precious Garland. Okay, chapter 3. Odina Poresho de Tum. Okay, the sentence number 2.11. If the causes of all things are small, but they produce extensive efforts, the thought that the measureless cause of Buddhahood have measurable effect should be eliminated. So there's a two, so when we think about the Buddhahood, we always need to remember the Rupakaya and Dharmakaya. The two kayas we can achieve based on the two types of merits. Therefore, he mentioned here, if the cause of all things are small, but they produce extensive effort. Generally, when we think about, like a big, huge tree, the tree is so huge, so big. When we think about the seeds of the tree was very small, very tiny, but it's produced, big size of tree. This is the example. Then at the beginning, so let's say, the great compassion, it looked like very tiny, but it produced the great effort, which is the two kayas, Dharmakaya and Rupakaya. The from body of the Buddha, arise from collection of merit. That means it's a Rupakaya, collection of merit. The truth body, in brief, O king, arises from the collection of wisdom. So please remember what are the two kayas, Rupa and Dharma. The two kayas actually arise from the two kinds of merit. Collection of merit, collection of wisdom. So we really need, the solid kind of belief in these two merits, wisdom and collection of merit, and collection of the wisdom. Because at the beginning, when Buddha talked about the true, he has explained the two truths, conventional and ultimate. Based on knowing the conventional truth, that we can accumulate collection of merit. Based on knowing the ultimate truth, we can accumulate collection of wisdom. The merit and wisdom, also practicing methods and wisdom is very important in our daily life. Also is very, very important for achieving Buddhahood. For example, we can see we have so many people around us who are very compassionate. They have a kind of great compassion. But those persons who are very compassionate person, but they really don't know how to control anger, attachment, hatred, because they don't know how to control ignorance. If the compassionate person has the wisdom which realizes the actual truth, you can say emptiness, or you can say, the reality, then the person have a true benefits. Having great compassion, the person can accumulate collection of merit. Having the knowledge of realizing emptiness, the person can accumulate collection of wisdom. If the person has two types of or two collections, then the person can achieve the Buddhahood very swiftly, very quickly. Thus, these two collections are the cause of attaining Buddhahood. So in some always rely upon merit and wisdom. So because sometimes we are confused, also sometimes, we have been doing so many things. We believe these are can be cause to achieve Buddhahood, actually not. Therefore, we need to know these two collections, cause of attaining Buddhahood. So in summarize, always rely upon merit and wisdom. Then many people feel very discouragement. So the first time, me and my classmates, when we attend class for the tenets from my teacher, who was passed away, let's say last year, actually I think beginning of this year. In the tenets is mentioned, in order to achieve Buddhahood, we need to accumulate the two types of merit for 3 eons. For me, I didn't have any kinds of, question. I didn't feel it's quite, discouraging. So one of my classmates, he was in the class, when he heard these words, accumulating, two types of merits for 3 eons. Then he said, now I become hopeless. hopeless. He said in front of my teacher, oh, now I become hopeless. I don't think, that's way I can be Buddha, because I don't think I can accumulate 3 eons of merit. Then my teacher said, what happened if we don't accumulate merit for 3 eons, then we have to remain in the samsara forever. Right? Therefore, he felt that way. Also, my teacher answered for him. He said, you better to accumulate merit for 3 eons. Somehow, within the 3 eons, we can be Buddha. The next sentence here, do not feel inadequate about this accumulation of merit to achieving enlightenment, since reasoning a scripture can restore one spirit. So when we think about accumulating, 2 types of merit for 3 eons, for many, many years, then we think it's difficult. But based on the reasonings, the scripture is explained very well how to accumulate the merit for 3 eons very quickly, very fast, very easy, very simply. Now the example here, an analogy. Just as in all directions, space, earth, water, fire, and wind are without limit. Therefore, first we need to reflect on the things around us, like the space. For us, we only know the space about, like seven we don't know much about the space. We know very little, very small. In the reality, the space is limitless. The earth is limitless. Water, fire, and wind are without limit. There's no limitation. Limitless. So that means, therefore, suffering sentient beings are limitless. The space is limitless. Therefore, suffering sentient beings are limitless. The water, fire, winds are limitless. Therefore, suffering sentient beings are limitless. Through their compassion, Bodhisattvas are determined to lead this limitless sentient being out of suffering and establish them in Buddhahood. This idea, this logic is, I think, is very useful to remember all the time. For example, when I said many times in TBC, so when we recite just mantra for one time, like Om Mani Padme Hum, if we dedicate only ourselves, then the merit is so tiny, very tiny. If we dedicate the reciting mantra for just one time for all like a Singaporean, then the merit become bigger, better merit. Also reciting the mantra just one time, only one time, to benefit all human beings, then the merit become much better. You can accumulate much better merit. Then reciting the mantra just only for one time to dedicate for all sentient beings, entire sentient beings, then the merit become very big, very huge. Therefore, he's mentioned here, So suffering sentient beings are limitless. Instead of dedicating yourself, instead of dedicating for your friends and family, instead of dedicating only, all human beings, why don't we dedicate for all sentient beings? The action is same. The verbal action is same. We're reciting the mantra only just one time. But we think about the consequence, the result of reciting the one mantra for just one time. Compare, dedicate only for yourself, dedicate for all human beings. Dedicate for all human beings and dedicate for all sentient beings, which is better, which is greater. Therefore, just as in the all directions, 10 directions, space, earth, water, fire, and wind are without limit. So suffering sentient beings are limitless. Through their compassion. So when we generate compassion, we visualize, we focus on all sentient beings, limitless suffering sentient beings. Therefore, having compassion only for yourself, only for your families and friends, only your neighbors, or compassion to all sentient beings, which is better. Therefore, when we generate compassion to all sentient beings, the compassion becomes much, greater. Through their compassion, Bodhisattvas are determined to lead not only just few sentient beings, few human beings, lead all sentient beings, the limitless sentient beings out of suffering, and establish them in Buddhahood. Therefore, reciting mantra, doing prostration, offering light and incense, offering mandala, doing little good things, always dedicate for all sentient beings. This means, let's say, I offer a candle light, just dedicate for myself. All of you offer a single candle light to dedicate all sentient beings. When Buddha was, watching us, me and you, Buddha can see my merit look like nothing. So tiny. The result must be very little. When Buddha watching you, you are offering very tiny candlelight, but the result, the merit is huge because of the motivation, because of the object of compassion. Through their compassion, Bodhisattvas are determined to lead this limitless sentient being out of suffering and establish them in Buddhahood. Then 217 hints, whether sleeping or not sleeping, after thoroughly assuming such as compassion, those who remain satisfied, even though they may not be miraculous. So, for example, early morning when you woke up, when you open your eyes, you must, if you think, since this morning, whatever I will do, I will dedicate for all sentient beings. That means all your actions, like drinking tea, water, coffee, eating food, whatever your action, all action can be caused to accumulate merit. Therefore, always accumulate merit as limitless all sentient beings. Since sentient beings are, whether sleeping or not sleeping, after thoroughly assuming such as compassion, those who remain satisfied, even though they may not be meticulous. So at the beginning, you set up the proper motivation, proper great compassion to all sentient beings. Then in between, you have done something, some bad thing or good thing, doesn't matter. You are continuously accumulating merits. Now with this thing, we really can see, miraculous. Just motivation can change everything. Therefore, instead of thanking me and myself, my family, my friends, my relatives, I think all human beings. Instead of thinking only human beings, must think all sentient beings. Therefore, always accumulate merit as limitless as all sentient beings. Therefore, sentient beings are limitless. Therefore, your merit can be limitless. Since sentient beings are limitless, know then that since the cause are limitless, limitless Buddhahood is not hard to attain. Right? There's a limitless Buddhahood. Limitless of the quality of the Buddhahood is not hard, not difficult to attain, because we can accumulate limitless merit. 219. Bodhisattva stay for a limitless time. Now he's talking about the four limitless time. Then limitless embodied being the sick, and limitless good quality of the enlightenment, perform limitless virtuous action. Hence, through the enlightenment is limitless. How could they not attain it? Remember the four limitless. Limitless time, limitless embodied being the sick, limitless good quality of the enlightenment, the perform limitless virtues. Also, when we think about, to benefit all sentient beings, I hope you remember in the Guru Yoga Puja, is mentioned, even though I'm happy to remain in the fire, in the hell, for eons of years to benefit one sentient being. So just only, benefiting for one sentient being, the Bodhisattva was happily, remain in the samsara, in the hell being for millions of years. That means they never think, achieving Buddhahood is take long time, many, many years. Therefore, despite the timing, they say, I can remain in samsara for billions of years to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, limitless time. Therefore, the merit can be limitless. Also, thinking about benefiting all sentient beings, then the recipient who receive our benefits also limitless. Then the two limitless, the time, the benefactor or recipient are limitless. Therefore, we can achieve the limitless good quality of the enlightenment. So when we think about the quality of the Buddhahood, we cannot think. Therefore, the perform limitless virtuous action. Therefore, timing limitless, the benefactor limitless, the action, the performings are limitless. Therefore, the result, achieving Buddhahood, the quality of the Buddhahood, the quality of the enlightenment also limitless. So today we really learn how to accumulate limitless merit. It depends on your thoughts, depends on our motivation. Then next, hence, though the enlightenment is limitless, how could they not attain it? With these 4 limitless collections, without being delayed for long. Therefore, if we don't understand how to accumulate the merit, 2 types of merit for 3 eons, many people feel very discouraged. If we know how to accumulate the limitless or numberless merit within short time, with a simple action that we think, we will believe achieving Buddhahood is not that difficult. Achieving enlightenment is not that delay, is not for a long time. I can achieve Buddhahood very quickly, very fast, very swiftly. But make sure at the beginning, we must have a compassion, which is great compassion, then everything achieved very easily. The limitless collection of merit and the limitless collection of wisdom eradicate just quickly, physically and mentally sufferings. Now also you can see that the importance of benefit of the 2 kinds of merit, the 2 kinds of collection of merit and wisdom. Eradicate just quickly physical and mental suffering. So again, it's very important. When we say, I'm not happy, I have so many suffering. There's only 2 kinds of, unhappiness. You are being physically unhappiness, you are being mentally unhappiness. When we say, I'm not happy, I have so many problems, the problems, only 2 kinds of problem, physical problem or mental problem. This 2 problem can be eradicated or can be reduced through practicing the 2 kinds of collection of merit and wisdom, particularly the wisdom. So here we need to know, not enough to just say how we can, really eradicate the physical and mental suffering through, 2 types of collections. For example, let's say you are physically, being very unhealthy. You have a lot of physical challenges, physical problem. So how we can reduce the physical suffering through the merit, through the two kinds of collection. Here also in the future, if you find the biography of the Buddha Shakyamuni, other high practitioner, is always inspire us how to reduce the physical suffering through practicing Dharma. For example, one of the Buddha lifetime, he was doing meditation. He was practicing Dharma in the forest. Then one of the novel, I think, princess. Yeah, she went for kind of short time, walk around in the forest. Then he saw in the forest there was like a siddhi or meditator who was alone in the forest, practicing Dharma or meditating. Then he was really moved by his practice. Then she also stayed there for, I think, few nights. Then the king, they noticed, their princess are not there. Princess or prince, I think prince was the lady. Then they were searching her, and then they found she was, living next to the meditator. Then the king was so angry, gets so angry, that he really cut, one of the hand of the meditator, the saint. Then he asked who you are. Then he said, I am a meditator of patience. Then he cut other hand. He asked, who are you? He still said, I am meditator of patience. Therefore, the mind is so, like a kind of, the mind is so stable. Practicing Dharma, the person really cannot feel the physical suffering. Or some ordinary practitioner, they can feel the physical suffering. The physical suffering, they transform into cause to achieve the inner happiness. The physical suffering can be cause to inspire to do the better Dharma practice. Therefore, the limitless collection of merit and the limitless of collection of wisdom eradicate just quickly physical and mental suffering. So first we need to know how to eradicate the physical suffering through, two kinds of collection of merit. Second, let's say mental suffering. And in this day, there are so many, different kinds of the mental suffering, like depression, anxiety, worries, fear, insecure, all kinds of, mental suffering we have. In the past, the people has a very simple life. Life was very simple, but they have a lot of physical hardship. But they didn't have a lot of mental hardship. They have a simple life, eat simple food. In order to have the simple food, they need to do a lot of walks. They are physically, their looks, there has a lot of challenges, but mentally they are very happy, very peaceful person. Today in the modern time, so we don't need to do a lot of physical challenges. For example, in Singapore, you no need to carry like a 60 or 70 or 80 kilos of rice and barley and vegetable and food and clothes to walk for every day, like a 50 or every day 30 to 40 kilometers. Everything around you. The physically we are very relaxed. When we need to cook, you press a button, you can have a rice, you have a noodle, everything there. But mentally, very stressful this day. Therefore, there's so many kinds of mental suffering, anxiety, depression, worry, fear, so many kinds of emotional or mental suffering we have. All the emotional or mental suffering we have is rooted by first ignorance, then attachment, desire, and anger. For example, attachment is very simple example. Let's say you can see also all over the world, someone lost, him or her, their dearest kind of friends. Dearest, like a mother and father and children, when they lost their dearest one, since the person goes to depression. It's a very clear why this person has a depression. Because the person thought, I lost everything. Because the person is so strongly attached to the very particular person, only one person. For him or her, person means only this person. If when we lost this person, then we thought I lost everything. There's no meaning of my life. That they become hopeless to survive continuously with a happy life. That's what attachment. Then anxiety, fear, so and so also. One is the anger. For example, you have a kind of argue with your boss, argue with your husband, argue with your wife or children, neighbors, friends. The argument actually a simple discussion for a certain matter. The simple discussion based on the simple matter, then there come agreement and disagreement. Then you're not ready to compromise. Then slowly you feel, annoying. He's not agree with me. You feel annoying. The annoying cause get anger, get angry. The angry cause have a hatred. Since you have a strong hatred in your mind, in your heart, there's no way you can have a peaceful life. You can have a ultimate kind of happy life. Even though you have in one hand you have everything. You have a good job, you have a good house, you have enough finance to survive, but somehow in deep down you feel very unhappy, annoying, because you have a strong hatred. The strong hatred caused by anger. The anger caused by ignorance. Therefore, the wisdom has a different level. First we say, oh, the person is very wise. Means the person know how to solve the problem, here and there. This also we can say one kind of wisdom. Then second, the wisdom, knowing, the gross level of reality. Then the fine wisdom is knowing the actual truth. The actual truth is same for all phenomena, for everybody. So we need to know the actual truth. When we know the actual truth, then there's no mental suffering, emotional suffering, nothing there. Most of the emotional problem we have, mental suffering we have, because we are really lacking to realize the actual fact, actual truth. Therefore, physical and mental suffering, eradicate just quickly physical and mental suffering. And also when you read, the teaching from the Kadamba, the old Kadamba, for example, Lamrim or so. Even though they are physically very healthy, but they really do a lot of prayers, chanting, offering torma to have a lot of sickness, a lot of disease. Because the more person has a physical, disease, physical suffering, the person can do the better practice. Therefore, you remember in the 7-point practice, there's one is a kind of offering torma to bring a lot of physical suffering. Then 222, the physical suffering of the bad transmigration. Then now is a question, why somebody has a healthy body, somebody has the body is quite healthy, somebody has a very unhealthy. So why we have somebody has a very physical, healthy body, somebody has a very unhealthy body, somebody has a someday healthy, someday unhealthy. The body is very healthy. What are the cause condition? Generally, yes, we can say, oh, this person has a healthy body because the person have a right food and right drink and right exercise, the right, like a resting, generally. But that person has an unhealthy body. This body is became very unhealthy because this person, had been eating unhealthy food, junk food, unhealthy drink, unhealthy exercise, didn't have enough resting. This is the general concept. One hand is we can make sense. If we really think, the deep down, healthy and unhealthy physical is caused by the negative action. Therefore, the 222, the stanza number, the physical sufferings of the bad transmigration in the lower realms, such as hunger, thirsty, arise from ill deeds. Bodhisattvas do not commit ill deeds, and due to the meritorious deeds, do not have physical suffering in other life. The bad transmigration has a lot of physical suffering, like hungry, thirsty, sickness, disease, because arise from where? Ill deeds. Therefore, Bodhisattvas do not commit ill deeds, and due to meritorious deeds, do not have a physical suffering and in other life. This life, even though they have a lot of disease, a lot of sickness, a lot of physical challenges, but they never feel, I have a physical suffering, physical problem. Therefore, in this life, they don't have this kind of concept, because they know how to practice the two types of collections. Next life, they definitely, surely next life they won't have any physical sufferings, because due to meritorious deeds do not have physical suffering in other life. No physical suffering, because they don't accumulate, the causes. Just as the mental suffering of the desire, hatred, fear, lust, and so forth arise from obscuration. Through knowing them to be baseless, they just quickly forsake the mental suffering. What are the mental suffering? Like a desire, hatred, fear, lust, and so forth. Arise from where? Caused by, whom? Arise from obscuration. Is a general term, obscuration, particularly through knowing them to be baseless. How we can control desire? The desire we have is arise baseless, hatred baseless, fear baseless, the lust baseless, and so forth. For example, desire. So when we have a strong desire, about the physical things, the material things, or desire from like a human beings, actually all the desire deep down is a baseless. How we know, how we can say is baseless? It doesn't have a solid foundation. Because you can see the desire is changing every day, every moment. If the desire has a very strong, solid foundation, the desire cannot be changed. For example, let's say based on human being, morning you met, attractive or very, beautiful person, you have a strong desire to wish to talk to the person, wish to have a time with the person, wish to have a some thing with the person, strong desire. Then after 1 hour, 1 hour after, you met another person who are more attractive, more beautiful, then the previous desire is disappear. You have a new type of desire. Therefore, desire is a baseless. We just desire, but it doesn't have a solid. So we need to think, and we have a strong desire, we must think, this is just based on my concept. It doesn't have a solid foundation. For example, in the past I mentioned, let's say there's one person appeared to in front of the 2%. Just one person appeared to in front of the 2%. One person said, oh, this person is so beautiful. Other person said, oh, so. This means the beauty and ugly, attractive and non-attractive is depend on your thoughts. It not depends on from the object side. And hatred also baseless. For example, morning, you really hate the person. You say, you are the only my enemy. You are the only my enemy, rest of my friends. Morning, you really hate the person. Then somehow, afternoon, the person, show you kind of good heart or bring some gift, have some sweet talk. Then the morning you consider the person is my best enemy. Afternoon, the best enemy, the pure enemy became your best friend. Again, hatred is baseless. Fear about what? Many people have a strong fear about their finance, their families, house, car. The most serious fear we have about the death. Whether you are fear or whether you are happy, the death will come. There's no point to be fear, particularly as a Buddhist. If you really believe in next life, then the more you closer to the death, the more you must feel happy. Because you are going to take another life. Particularly, the person who has a lot of physical sufferings or mental suffering, family problem, financial problem, all problems there. When they think about death, if you believe next life, if you really sincerely believe next life, then you must feel happy to leave this world, going to take another rebirth. The another rebirth is the like a good or bad, happy rebirth or suffering rebirth is up to you. It's in your hands. It's not chosen by Buddha, not chosen by any others. It's up to you. Therefore, if you really wish to have a happy life happy next life, then you need to practice the pure dharma, non-attachment, non-desire, non-hatred. Then lust and so forth arise from obscuration. Through knowing them to be baseless, they just quickly forsake mental suffering. Since thus they are not greatly harmed by physical and mental suffering, why should they be discouraged through the led beings in all world? Okay, now I think we have a few minutes for Q&A. So next we will start the stanza number from 2 to 5. Also, we have discussed little bit about this thing. So again, after class, you go through all the stanza, read the sentence, and reflect on. Then have a really better, deeper understanding. Then whenever attachment comes, hatred comes, fear comes to you, you need to know how to overcome. For example, in our daily life, early morning, what we need to eat? Everybody eat breakfast. Then also we need to eat lunch. In between, we need to drink. We need to take all the drink. Also, we need, most of us, eat dinner. So we have to eat, continuously, morning, afternoon, in between, the evening, before bed. Likewise, the dharma we have to practice in the morning, afternoon, evening, in between. Continuously, we need to practice dharma. If you eat only breakfast, no lunch, no dinner, between nothing, you feel so hungry, so thirsty. You feel so, lost energy. If you practice dharma only morning, then no afternoon, no evening, no between, then all the mental suffering will, arise continuously. Then the morning practice, doesn't bring much benefit for you. Therefore, please practice dharma. I said all the time, everywhere, with anybody. Okay, so thank you so much for attending the class. And next Sunday, I think we have to cancel class. So next, I think Sunday, there's 4 days, like a big and long puja, so I cannot have a class. So then, since I think we can have a class for almost every Sunday. Okay, is there any question? Please feel free.
Okay, Dharma brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, feel free to put in the chat window or raise your hand.
Dear Geshe, there's these questions.
Okay, please.
Geshe, you mentioned that happy to leave this life and go to the next rebirth should be something that is happy. Isn't it committing suicide to end this life suffering, hope to get the next good life, not encouraged, is something bad to do? But how do we understand living this suffering life and by commit suicide, hopefully we'll get a better rebirth in next life, is not encouraged, should not be done? How do we understand this?
Yes, generally there's a concept of committing suicide, particularly, this day. There's so many IT people committing suicide all over the world. Also we can understand, some people already commit suicide. Somebody wish to commit suicide because they really totally feel tired with this life, full of sufferings. Because for them, they can see only negativities, only negative things. They don't have a ability, or nobody teach them the positivities, positive thing around us. Therefore, we need to see both. We have a negativities, we have a positivities. Now, up to you, which life you want to live, with the negativities, with the positivities. Yes. Then somehow the people really, lost hope to live, continuously commit suicide. So I have met parents. The son was commit suicide. The person who died, the son who died, He finished his life, just this life, no more kind of this kind of problem, suffering. But the person never think after the person commits suicide, how the family feel. The family feel very suffering for many years. The mother was crying every day. The mother, cannot eat food, cannot drink, always crying, a lot of suffering. Therefore, the person who commits suicide, the person only thinking, how I end this problem. They never think what happened after I left. Number one. Number two, if you don't believe in next life, the person don't believe in next life, the person don't believe in karma, so we cannot say much. If the person believe in next life and karma, so commit suicide doesn't mean, you totally exhaust the karma, which you're going to experience the suffering. Therefore, it's a very individual things to commit suicide, not commit suiciding. So if we know the person is something wrong, so we need to advise not committing suicide. We should not say, oh, next life and karma and so. We must say, if you commit suicide, I know you're going to finish this life. What about your father? What about your mother? What about your sister? So and so. Therefore, committing suicide is not the best option to end, the physical and mental suffering in this life and next life. Instead of commit suiciding, we need to know the fact, the reality. We must have a strong heart to accept the truth. Understanding the reality, accepting the reality is a huge difference. Before we have all this problem, we think I can accept the truth. When the things really actually happen to us, actually happen to individual like you and me, it's not easy to overcome this problem. Therefore, first we need to know we must realize the truth. Second, we need a really big heart to accept the fact, accept the truth. When we are able to accept, then things become more easy. Many people, all over the world, many people they're not ready to accept the truth. They say, why is happened to me? They have a lot of question. It is not the time to arising this question. This is the time to accept the truth. This is the right time, how to overcome the problem. So if you're able to accept the truth, then you can see so many kind of direction to overcome problem. Yeah, therefore, if you know somebody's, keep thinking, oh, I want to commit suicide, this, then we need to know the actual cause of the problem. Then, we need to explain then how to overcome. Okay, this is the answer for you. Is there any question? Next.
There's no question from my side.
There's another question from the Chinese side, Geshe.
Okay.
Geshe, when you mentioned about limitless sentient beings and limitless human beings, is it okay to practice visualize all sentient beings in the form of human beings? Because I do not know what types of all sentient beings will be. So it's difficult to visualize all sentient beings and to practice. So can I visualize that all sentient beings are in the form of human or is a human so that I can include all human beings in all my practice? Thank you, Geshe La.
Thank you so much asking this question too. Yes, definitely is a right way to imagine.
外面种葡萄了，它的原始里面种葡萄，居家是我。
他说什么？
Geshe La, it's a wrong press button.
Oh, okay. So this also, thank you for asking, this question too. Yes, for example, so when we do prostration, usually we thinking I have only one body. I'm doing just prostration by my one body. So when you do prostration, you can visualize, you can imagine your body multiply into 2 to 4 to 100, 100 to billion, billions or millions or millions or millions. You imagine you are doing prostration with the billions of body. Also, when you're reciting mantra, doing chanting, you just imagine you have billions of mouth, billions of tongue reciting billions of mantra all together when you do yourself, offering prostration, recitation, giving kind of food to others. You just imagine you multiplying millions of hands, giving millions of things to millions of sentient beings. Also, when you're doing prostration, also you can imagine all sentient beings around you manifest as a human. When you reciting, you imagine all sentient beings, manifest as a human. They're also doing prostration, reciting mantra. So when you're generating bodhicitta, also you can imagine all sentient beings around you, around us, also doing, practicing bodhicitta, great compassion. For example, it's okay to share with you. So for example, in TBC, monthly we do Guru Puja, so offering, and the Thara Puja. That time also I visualize all sentient being manifest as a human. For the short time, everybody stop doing their daily walkings, driving or cooking and cleaning and whatever, just totally stop. For a short time, they can reflect on great compassion, bodhicitta, reciting mantra, doing Guru Puja. It's perfectly okay. But one very important thing is, when we visualize, all sentient being as a form of human, then we don't understand the suffering of the hungry beings, suffering of the hell beings, suffering of the animal beings. So there's sometime when you really cultivating compassion, the pure compassion, we really need to remember the actual form of sentient being, like a hungry beings, hell beings, living in the fire, living in the this thing. Then you can generate better compassion. Yes, in a one hand, yes, you can visualize all sentient being form of human. In order to generate pure compassion, better to remember the actual form of each of the sentient being. Okay, so this means I think the bell is ringing.
One more last question.
Okay.
Yeah. Geshe La, is it not commit suicide, killing oneself as breaking the first precept and reborn in a lower realm?
Okay, in the precept, it doesn't have killing yourself. We say killing others. Let's say, unfortunately, one Buddhist commits suicide. It doesn't mean the person break the vows. Killing means killing others, not killing yourself. It doesn't break any vows. But if you have taken the Tantrayana vows, then it's mentioned we should not, violence ourselves. When we kill, when we snap knife, that means we are doing violence ourselves. It's kind of breaking the samaya. Yes, if somebody commits suicide as a Buddhist who has a vows, the person didn't break any vows. Okay, so thank you so much, all of you, to attending the Sunday morning class. The later we can have the entering middle way. So then some of you, I can see you in the afternoon. So we can do the short dedication. I chant in Tibetan. So everybody just reflect on the merit, which is we have accumulated this morning. So we have accumulated in the past. We will accumulate in the future all merits. We have been accumulating. First, we dedicate for achieving Buddhahood. Jamba Bhaye Chidara Kemba Gundo Zambo Deyang Deje Deda Gunye Jesu Dalo Gewa Deda Tanjera. Second, dedicate all the merit to benefit all sentient beings. Shaje Wadang Chujen Sheba Jesu Yerang Gujen So Gewa Junze Dagi Jisa Badam Jesu Be Jangju Jem Jide Yambe Gewan Tamje Do Mine Chune Zase Zade Maru Mugi Guba Gunjene Tsirin Deye Demor Sho. Last, we dedicate all the merit which is accumulated by ourselves, all the merit accumulated by Bodhisattvas and Buddha, all merit together, we dedicate for world peace. Now the world becoming very scary. All the wars wish to reduce. All the head of the country, people wish to have a great compassion, equanimity, free from attachment and hatred. Chanjo Sanjo Rimbo Jama Ye Bana Yigu Hewa Nyamba Meba Yang Kone Gundo Bel Tonye Dawa Rimbo Jama Ye Bana Yigu Hewa Nyamba Meba Kone Gundo Bel Sho. Thank you so much. I'll show you the informal view. So you can see this is the below is the Yudu monastery. The above you can see the residence of the Karmapa. So today is Sunday. There's no particular class, but still I have to do something. Okay, then have a happy Sunday. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.